Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bad Movie Night. My name's Chris. Tonight, I checked out a new horror movie called Incision. It's directed by Ali Zamani. It goes by AZ, and it does star Costas Mandylor, although he's basically in a scene or two. So this movie's like if a guy who made a lot of music videos and commercials remade The Burbs, but with the Kardashians, and was deeply inspired by the movie Saw. That sounds interesting, right? I mean, in some ways this movie is kind of interesting. So the movie's about a bunch of young rich people, the main character being a beauty vlogger, who gets caught up in a situation with a crazy plastic surgeon, and then some hijinks ensue. Like I said, it seems inspired by things like Saw, as there's a bit of a torture porny aspect, but also the way I described it with The Burbs seems kind of apt too, with this whole family thing and this house and everything like that. I don't think anyone else will probably pick up on those vibes, but for whatever reason, I kept getting Burbs vibes from this movie, and I love that movie. So, Incision. So the director does have a notable background in TV commercials and music videos, which I think is displayed very, very prominently in this movie, especially the first quarter or so, where you're just getting like lifestyle type videos with these young, rich people. They're all kind of vapid, and I think that's the point. They care more about their vanity and all that kind of their lifestyle than they do anything else. At least I think that's what the movie's going for. But it feels like a YouTube, rich vloggers kind of video with these sweeping cameras and drone movements amongst these like modern looking mansions, and everybody's looks impeccable, and there's expensive cars and all that stuff. So none of the characters right off the bat are particularly likable or very relatable. So it was hard to get attached to anyone, and the whole kind of setup for this whole scenario that goes down feels really forced and not really plausible. The driving factor to this whole movie relies on somebody losing their laptop and it ending up at this crazy plastic surgeon's house. You could say the plan is devious in some ways, and unless I missed it, it never really comes back around as it being like intentional, that this beauty vlogger is like picked out by this plastic surgeon. It just all seems like it's kind of like happenstance, and it's a strange convenience that this happens. So that was a little frustrating. I do think the first quarter of the movie is the weakest part. There's so many amateur transitions, which is weird, but it kind of makes sense. Like I said, the director seems like he mostly has a music video and commercial background and not a lot of narrative, and so the transitions feel awkward. A lot of times it just fades to black and then fades back in. It feels really cheap and cheesy, but it's not matched with the camera work. The camera work is solid. The lighting is good. There is a bunch of scenes that look really cool. However, the camera work also feels like a lot of times that it's not really helping the narrative. It's more distracting. There's a couple sequences where I was like, just stop moving the camera so much. It just feels like they need to constantly be moving it in ways, like I said, that just kind of distracted me from the whole tension they were trying to build in the scene. So, I mean, this is a predictable, tropey horror movie, but it does have some fun gore effects and gore moments if you're like the torture porny kind of stuff. Nothing too ridiculous, and I don't even think anything that would rival any of the Saw sequels. But there are a few moments here that are kind of gross, and the makeup effects are well done. There's some CGI effects to people being, losing arms and legs and stuff like that. That is okay. It's passable. I think they showed it a little too much. They showed it more than they needed to, that you started to lose the effect of it, and you could start to see, pick apart the CGI effect on there. But it's definitely passable. The acting's not very good. There's a kid character in the movie who is just... I don't want to pick on a kid's acting. It's more or less like the lines and stuff like that are really rough, but the kid really stuck out as being particularly bad. None of the acting is very good, though. The main bad guy is cheesy in a way that's kind of fun. Costas Mandylor is in a scene or two while playing on the TV. He doesn't really add anything to this movie, but he is the name that some people might recognize. So like I said, the story's tropey, the sequences are predictable and tropey. There's nothing basically new here. The execution's okay. The second half of the movie is definitely way more compelling when they're in that plastic surgeon's house. It feels more focused. So I wasn't really bored while watching it. It was passable and fine. It's all very predictable, like I said. There's lots of logistical leaps and plot holes here and there. I will say this is one of those movies, if you go on IMDb or Amazon, it's been dated. with 10 out of 10 reviews, so take that as you will. But Incision, it's out now. If you've seen it, let me know what you think, and otherwise let me know what I should be watching. I'll catch you here next time, guys. Goodbye.